in. So we're going to share my screen here. So just so our agenda for today, we'll review the homework that I assigned that was due for today. We'll review the stem changing verbs vocabulary, which we went over last week. We'll review the types of stem changing verbs. And like I said, we'll go over these in more detail. And I said we'll start conjugating and translating our vocabulary. And then I have instructions for the homework. So this was our homework. So just to briefly go over it, we have mi hijo blank aburrido porque le quité su celular. So it's saying my son is bored because I took away his cell phone. So are we going to use ser or estar in this situation? Now remember, ser is for more permanent situations. Estar is for more temporary situations. So he's bored right now because I took away his cell phone. So we're going to pick está, right? Because right now he's bored. That's an emotion.
Yeah.
Yep. And we have Natalia y Lucas blank cansados porque es tarde. So that translates to Natalia and Lucas are tired because it's late. So are we going to pick ser or estar? Now they're tired right now because it's late. You want to take a guess? Remember, ser is for more permanent situations. Estar is for more temporary.
Is it está?
Yes. Yep. It's están. Yep. Natalia y Lucas están cansados porque es tarde. So they're tired because it's late. Okay. Good job. So for number 3, we have mis perros son or están grandes. It means my dogs are big. So yep, son. Yep, that's right. So that because they're big. They're probably not going to be little. They're just, you know what I mean? They're just big. That's kind of a permanent thing. So for number 4, we have Manuela y yo somos or estamos de Paraguay. So Manuela and I are from Paraguay. What are you thinking?
Somos.
Yep, that's correct. Because remember, somos is of origin, right? So when we're talking about where someone's from, we always use ser because that's not going to change. Where you're from is where you're from. So good job with that. For number 5, we have Seattle es or está en el estado de Washington. So that's saying Seattle is in Washington. What are you thinking?
Es.
Yep, that's right. Yep, because Seattle, it's in Washington. So Seattle is always going to be in Washington. So yep, that's correct. And for number 6, we have Erica es or está mi sobrina. So that's saying Erica is my niece.
Es.
Yep, that's right. Because remember, we use ser for relationships. And that's a family relationship. So we're going to use ser. For number 7, we have ustedes son or están bien, no? So that's saying you guys are good, right? So right now you're good. What are you thinking?
Está.
Están, yep, that's right. Ustedes están bien. Yep, that's right. And for number 8, we have tú eres or tú estás uruguayo, ¿verdad? And that's saying you're from Uruguay, right? What are you thinking?
Eres.
Yep. Yep, eres is right because Uruguay is a country, so you're talking about origin. So yep, that's right. And number 9, la fiesta es or está en casa de Ana Maria. What are you thinking? This one can be a little bit tricky, but what are you thinking?
Es.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Remember, I don't know, I have it on here somewhere, but we talked about last week that when we're talking about an event like La Fiesta, the party, it's an event, so we use ser, right? So it's going to be es, because es is a conjugated form of ser. Yep, so you're right on all of these. Good job. So for number 26, we're going to decide if ser or estar is appropriate for each sentence, and then we're going to conjugate it to fill in the blank, okay? So actually, before we do this, let me bring up ser and estar, the conjugation, so we can look at that. All right. Let me bring that up before we do that. That way you'll have it. Let's see. Okay, so we have ser and estar right here. So let's go over to our homework. And we have to pick ser or estar first, and then we have to pick, we're going to conjugate it then, so we can work on that. So for number one, we have blank tú de los Estados Unidos. So that's saying, are you from the United States? So we're talking about where someone's from. So we're going to use ser or estar.
Sir.
Yep, that's correct. So, and can you tell me what the subject of the sentence is? What do you think?
Subject.
Yeah.
Who
Yep.
he's from?
Yep. So we're asking the question you, right? Are you from the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
So two is our subject. So when we look at our charts and we're using ser right here, we have our conjugation chart and we have eres, right? So the answer, so for this one, the number one is going to be eres, right? See if I can open this with Google Docs and actually write it in. So the question would be, ¿Eres tú de los Estados Unidos? So that means are you from the United States? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we got more practice. So for number two, we have mi bolso blank de cuero. So that's saying my purse is made of leather. So we're going to use ser or star. It's
Sir.
made, yep, yep. So we're talking about my purse, right? That's our subject. My purse is made of leather. So mi bolso is the subject, right? So we'll go over here and we're going to use ser. So it's in this category, it, right? It. So we have él, ella, and usted, which is he, she, and you are, right? And you are. So él es, that's he is. Ella es she is. And usted es you are, which usted is you formal. So there's that. And then remember that we always put, when we're talking about it, we always put that in this category. So it's es, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So mi bolso es de cuero. Okay. So for this next one, we have mi carro blank en el garaje. That means my car is in the garage. So are you thinking, what are you thinking, Sarah or Star?
Está.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Está. All right. So for this next one, we have Ivan blank piloto. So Ivan is a pilot. So is it going to be Sarah or Star?
Está.
Nope. Remember, that's his profession. That's his job. So we're going to use Sarah, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me just write down this for people that came in. Came in. I didn't even see. We're just going over the homework that was due for today. So, yep, it's gonna be ser. So Ivan is he, right? So let's go back to our chart here. We have él, that's he, right? So it's gonna be es. Yeah. And then we have Olivia y Hector blank novios. We'll work on that section first. So Olivia and Hector are a couple. What a Sarah or a Star? What are you thinking? Anybody can give me their answer.
Está.
No, remember that's a relationship, right? So for relationships, we use ser, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So it's they. Olivia and Hector. It's they. Let's go back to our chart and we're going to use ser. So son, right? Ellos is they. Okay. So we have Olivia and Hector son novios y ellos blank muy felices juntos. So Olivia and Hector are a couple and they are very happy together. What do you think? Sarah or Star?
Ser, right?
Yep. Yep. So we're going to use the exact same form because we have Olivia y Hector son, they are, and ellos is they, so son. Okay. So Olivia y Hector son novios y ellos son muy felices juntos. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this part was a little bit more tricky. So if you didn't get this completely, that's okay. But the first question is asking, ¿Están muy ocupados tus amigos? So it's saying, are your friends busy? So if you do you want to say yes or no? It doesn't matter which one you pick.
Yeah.
All right. So we could say sí, yes. Oh, sí, mis amigos, right? And then mis amigos is the subject, my friends. So we're going to use a star. You see right here, we have the exact same form that we're using right here. So mis amigos están okay. So you're saying, are your friends busy? Sí, mis amigos están ocupados. Yes, my friends are busy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So for this next one, it's asking, how are you today? So you see that they're using a star in the question. So that gives us the hint that we're going to use a star in the answer. So it's saying, how are you today? So if you're answering the question, you're going to say, I am. So let's go back here and we're going to use a star. You're going to say, I am. Yo estoy, right? You would say, I am, and then I'm just going to say contenta, happy. I am happy today. So you can add hoy means today. So you can add that. You don't have to. You could just say yo estoy contenta, which means I'm happy. Or you could say yo estoy contenta hoy, which means I'm happy today. Either one's correct. So for number 3, we have como eres tú. So that's asking, how are you, like personality wise? How are you all the time? So that's a personality trait. So that's a more or less permanent thing, right? So we're going to use ser for that one, right? And we get the hint from that because we see here, eres. And remember, that's a conjugated form of ser. So you can pretty much get like a hint for which verb you're going to use by the question. So we can, and then saying, how are you? Like, what are you like? So we can go here, and remember, we're going to use ser, like in the question, and you're going to say, yo soy, I am, right? Yo soy And you just give a personality trait. Let's see what we can say. Yo soy simpática. That means I'm kind. Yep. So you see how when I said I'm happy today, that's like I'm happy right now, but I'm not happy all the time. And then for number 3, it says como eres tú, which means what do you like? You say yo soy simpática. I am nice. You see how one's more like a permanent thing and the other one's kind of temporary? Okay. And then for number 4, we have están vivos todos tus héroes. And this is kind of an awkward question, but that's okay. So it says, are all of your heroes alive? So you could say, yes, they are, or no, they're not. And so I'm just going to say yes. You could say, sí, todos mis. Now, I know that that's a little bit, because we didn't really go over that too much, but that's okay. Oh, gosh, I can't type. All of my heroes están, right? Están vivos. And then we see how we use a star in the question. So we're going to use a star in the answer. Okay. And then están vivos and alive. Now I know that this one might be a little bit tricky because when we think of being alive and being dead, if I would have said no, they're not alive, they're dead, you would think that you would use ser because that's a permanent thing. But that's like a state of being, which I know it's a little bit tricky. That's a state of being. So you're always going to use a star. Like when you say I'm alive, you would say estoy viva, which means I'm alive. If you say like I'm dead, you would say estoy muerta. So I know that's a little bit tricky, but there's that. And then for number 5, we have ¿Cuál es el nombre de una persona que está muerta, pero a quien admiras mucho? So the question is, what is the name of a person that is dead but you admire a lot? So I'm just gonna say mi bisabuela, which bisabuela means great grandmother. Está. Yep. Está muerta. And that would be fine. You could just say that, like a name of a person who has died but that you still admire a lot. So that was just my answer for that. Everybody would probably have a different answer for that, and that's totally fine. So and you see how I use this star because right here in the question we have está, right? So we use that same thing. And then for the last one, we have eres reservado o extrovertido. So I know that this has like an at sign here, and this is like a newer thing. Normally, it would be like reservado, ending in an O if you're a boy, or an A if you're a girl. But if you want to use the at symbol, you can. It's completely fine. Or if you'd rather use the O or the A, you can too. Either one is correct. This is like the at symbol is like a gender neutral type thing that they've been using. So it's saying, are you shy or are you more outgoing? And we're using ser because being shy or outgoing is a personality trait, right? So if you want to answer that, you would say I soy, yo soy, I am. Because if we go to our chart, yo soy, yep. Yo soy reservada. And yep, you could say that. Or you could or if you're a guy, you would say yo soy reservado, or you could use the at symbol. Either one. Or if you wanted to, you do the exact same thing with extrovertido. Okay. Does this make sense to everybody? Is everybody kind of okay with this? I know Sarah and Estar are a little bit tricky, but you will, the more that you practice Spanish, the more that they make sense. I know it's a little bit hard now, but does this make sense to everybody? Great. All right. So, okay, so we can start going over what I had planned for today. We're probably not going to get through it all, but that is completely fine. We will go over the rest on Thursday. So we went over that. So just a review of our stem changing verbs vocabulary. So these are all words that we went over last week. So we're just gonna go through them and go over what they mean. And all of these verbs are irregular. They all change in the stem, right? So for number one, we have querer is to want, soñar is to dream, repetir is to repeat, jugar is to play, dormir is to sleep, llover is to rain, inquirir is to inquire. And I only included that one in because there's only like two common verbs that change the way that this one does. So just to give an example, we have decir, which is to say or to tell. Pedir is to ask for. Volar is to fly. Recordar is to remember. Remover is to remove. Poder is to be able to. Mostrar is to show. And morir is to die. Does anybody have any questions or anything on this? On the vocab? No? Okay. So I just wanted to go over the types of stem changers. So we went over this last week, but just a review, these are the types of verbs that change. So in some of them, the E goes to an IE. In some of them, the O goes to a UE. I have some that the E goes to an I. I have some that the I goes to an IE. I have some that the U goes to a UE. And these are all of the types of stem changers. And we'll go over each one of these individually. And I just wanted to remind everybody of the boot. So remember, with our chart that like the same chart that we've been using for conjugation since we started, we have the yo, the tú, the él, ella, usted, nosotros, and ellos. And you can see the stem changes in all of these forms except nosotros. The stem never changes in the nosotros form, but it changes in all other forms. And that's why we call it the boot, because the ones that change look like a boot. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about this? Okay. So we're going to start with the E to IE verbs. And this is the most common type of stem changing verb. So this is the one that affects the most verbs. And remember, the stem changes, the endings stay the same. Remember the endings that we learned before, and I'll bring them up just so we have them. And our vocabulary words that are affected by this type of change are querer. And I do have other ones which we'll go through, but this is just the example that I'm going to use. So let me actually bring up the endings so we have them. I actually have it in here. Let's see. Here it is. So remember, this is the chart that we've been using, right? And this is on Google Classroom, so you can feel free to use this. So we have, and querer is our verb that we're going to use. So let's start with the conjugation. So I'm going to do that now. Okay. So I'm just going to put it in bold so you can see it. So remember, our subjects are going to be the same, so we can put those right in, right? Remember, these are never going to change. Like, these are always going to be the same. Oh, not putting them in right. And I don't know if I told you guys this, but if you ever do not feel like putting like these in, if you ever just want to use the verb and not put the subject, that is completely fine in most cases. And nosotros, nosotras, and we'll go over that even more later on, but just as a little heads up. Now we have ellos, us. Oops. So we have our subjects here. So does anybody remember what we do when we conjugate a verb? What is the first thing that we do? Anybody want to take a guess? We take the stem off of the ending, right? And we remember that all endings are either AR, ER, or IR. So in the case of querer, ER is the ending, so we take that off, get rid of it. So we're stuck with QUER. And it's a stem changing verb, right? It's a E to IE verb. So with our stem here, obviously the only E in it is going to be the one that changes to IE. So we're going to go, and then we have the E, and remember the E changes to IE, and the endings are the same, right? So we're going to go to the yo form of an ER verb. Oh, the ending is O. Yo quiero. Okay, so you see how we did the stem changer, and then we added the ending. So we're going to do the exact same thing for all the other ones. Oh, so we have, oh no. So we have two, and we're going to take the stem again. We're at that E, and it's good. The E is going to change to IE. Then we got to add our endings. ES. It's an ER verb, and the two is ES. Okay. Okay. So it would be tú quieres. And then we have él, ella, usted. We have that same stem. Remember, the E is going to change to IE. Let's go to our endings. E, right? Quiere. And remember, the nosotros form does not change. So there's our ending. Hemos. So we just add the stem and the ending like we would with the regular verb. Queremos. Okay. The next one, we have ellos, ustedes, or ellas. So here's our stem. And remember, this one does change. So like we said, it changes E to IE. And then to our endings, EN. Okay, so that is our verbs. So yo quiero is I want, tú quieres is you want, él, ella, usted quiere, he wants, she wants, you formal want, nosotros queremos, we want, ellos or ustedes quieren, they want or you formal want. So just to show you how it would be like kind of awkward if we didn't have the stem changing verbs. So if we didn't change the stem, it would be like quiero, which that's like kind of awkward. So that's why they do the stem changing. Another one is like quieres. Like if you think about it, like quieres flows a lot easier than quieres. So that's why they do the stem changing verbs for pronunciation and for spelling. So does anybody have any questions on this one? Or is everybody kind of okay? I mean, we're going to do like way more examples, but I just want to make sure everyone's kind of okay with that. Okay. So the O to the UE verbs, and this is when the O changes to a UE. So for verbs in this group, the O in the last syllable changes to a UE. So we have pretty many verbs in our vocabulary that are affected by this change. We have recordar, remover, soñar, dormir, llover, volar, poder, mostrar, and morir. And I made the vocabulary list based on words that I think that you'll be able to use, not so much by words that have certain changes. So these are just verbs that I think are more common that you'll be able to use. So we're just going to conjugate the first one on the list, right? We're going to do recordar. So let's start. So remember, first thing that we're going to do is take the stem away from the ending. So AR is the ending. So we're going to get rid of that. Goodbye. Get out. So we have RECORD as our stem. So remember, this is a O to UE verb. So remember, the O is going to change to a UE. So we only have one O in our stem. So that's obviously going to be the one that changed. So let's go. Rick. Oh, we're at that O. Remember, O changes to UE. So it's going to be yo recuerdo. You see how that changes? For the next one, we're going to do tu. And remember, O to UE. And the regular ending for AR verb, AS. Tu recuerdas. We have él. Remember, we have the O to UE. So él, ella, or usted recuerda. And I'm getting these endings from this chart. Remember the AR verbs chart. Or we have AR, ER, and IR. So depending on what the ending is. So we have them. So next up, we're going to do nosotros. The parts are always going to be the same. And remember, part of the boot, the nosotros form doesn't change. The stem does not change. So for the nosotros, it would be nosotros recordamos. Okay. It doesn't change. Now we have ellos, ellas, or ustedes, and then this one does change. So the O to UE. Right? So we have yo recuerdo, which means I remember. Tu recuerdas, which means you remember. Él, ella, usted recuerda. He, she, or you form will remember. Nosotros recordamos. Ellos, ellas, or ustedes recuerdan. Does that make sense? You see how the stem changes in all the forms but the nosotros form? So is everybody okay with that? We're all right? Like I said, next class we're going to go through a lot more examples of this. So the E to IE verbs. So in these verbs, the E in the last syllable changes to an I. So verbs in our vocabulary with this change are repetir, pedir, and decir. So you can see how they're all like IR verbs. Most of the E to I verbs will be IR verbs. So just to give an example of this, we'll conjugate repetir. Okay. So we have yo. And remember, we're going to take the IR off. We always get rid of the ending. So that's going to be gone. So we have REPET. So we changed the E to an I, but there's two E's. So what are you thinking? Which one are we going to use? Which one are we going to change? We're not going to change them both. Remember, it says in the last syllable. So it's going to be the last E, right? Yo, rip. Oh, we're at that E. Remember, it just changed to an I. Yo repito. And then The next one, we have two. Yep. And then we have rip. The E is going to change to an I. To repeat this. Okay. We have el. Remember that second E changes to an I. So it's él, ella, usted repite. And then remember we have our nosotros form, and that one is no different. It never changes. See how the E stays the same? We're going to do that whenever we conjugate one of these verbs. So it's nosotros repetimos. Okay. And for the next one, we have ellos or ellas and ustedes repeat. Yep. So just so you see how in this one, the E changes to an I. So we have yo repito is I repeat. Tú repites is you repeat. Él, ella, usted repite. He repeats, she repeats, you formal repeats. Nosotros repetimos, we repeat. And ellos or ustedes repiten. They repeat or you formal repeat. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? And I actually want to check something on the homework here. Let's see. I just want to see because I don't want to rush through this because I know, oh goodness, it put the whole thing on there. That's not what I meant to do. Give me 1 second. Oh goodness, I can't take it off. Okay, 1 second, guys. Let me show you. I'm gonna delete that one off there because I put the wrong one up. And then we'll go over what you have to do for that. And then I think I have the correct one on here. Let me make sure. No, I didn't. Okay, but that's okay. We'll go over this and then I'll upload the right one. I don't know why I did that, but that's okay. Okay, so I did not mean to put all of these pages up. You were only supposed to you're only supposed to do the first page. So this page right here, and I will fix that then. So we went over the E to IE verbs right here. Remember, the E to IE is the one with querer, right? And then we have the O to UE, which is this one, the one that we went over with recordar. And then we have the E to IE verbs, which, did I go over that one yet? No, I didn't. That's okay. That's okay. So what you're gonna do for this one is you see these verbs up here. We have empezar, acertar, pensar, recomendar, encender, and extender. So it gives you what they all mean. So empezar is to begin, acertar is to guess. It gives you all of these. And you see here that it tells you what type of change there is. So all of these words are going to be E to IE verbs. So for she thinks, you would go to, oh, pensar is a verb to think. And then you're going to conjugate. So it would be ella, and then the IE to IE. So it would be piensa. Okay. And then just so you see how I changed the E to the IE, and then you can use, I'm actually going to make this do next Monday because I know that this stuff is actually pretty difficult. I had it set for due on Thursday, but I think I'm gonna make it for for next Monday because I know that this stuff is kind of hard. Yeah, that's the only page that we want. Okay, I think it got the right one now. Maybe not. So, and I know I didn't go over all of these. That's why I'm just, now I think it worked. Okay, yep. So I'm gonna upload this to Google Classroom right now. And then I don't really want to rush through these because I know that it's kind of, I know that some of these are kind of difficult. So I'm gonna make a copy for everyone. And then, I don't know how many points. Let's see. Let's see. So there's 26 of them. Cool. So we'll make it out of 26 points. Okay. And I'll make it due next Monday. That way. And I'm going to add that to STEM changing verbs. Yep. Make a copy for each student. And I know it's a PDF, so you can do a Word document. You could do whatever you want to do. Okay. So let's just make sure it's correct now. Yep, it only, oh no, it didn't work. Oh gosh. Okay, I gotta look at it. But so do you guys understand what you're supposed to do for the most part with this, with the homework? And like I think that we're gonna stop here with this because I don't want to rush through this. So when you do the homework, if you just want to do the E to IE and the O to UE for now, because that's all we went over today. And then Thursday, we'll go over the E to IE. Wait. Oh, never mind. These are the same ones. The E to IE. It was really late when I found this last night. So, yeah. So, yeah, just do the first part for now. Just do 1 through 20 for now, and then we'll worry about the third part on Thursday. And I do have and you don't have to turn anything in for Thursday. You can just hold on to it and then turn the whole thing in on Monday because we're going to go over all of this stuff. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? So for number 2, it's we extend. So nosotros is going to be our subject, right? And then extend, we're going to use extender because that's the verb that it's giving us. So it's going to be nosotros, and then remember the IE. Extendemos, right? Extendemos. Because remember in the nosotros form, it doesn't change. So it's going to be nosotros extendemos. And like I said, feel free to send me any questions or anything like that. I have to fix this, so I'm just going to delete it for now, and then I'll repost it right away after class. So, and like I said, we'll go over all of these other verbs next class. So, just some of the plans for next class. I just want to remind everybody that there is a lab today from 1 to 2. So if you're struggling with any of the homework, if you're struggling to get some of the work done, if you need help with any of this stuff, anything that we went over, please come to lab. Like I said, it's from 1 to 2. So feel free to stop in and get some help. We'll review what we went over today with the stem changing verbs. We'll go over what we didn't get to go over. We'll review the vocabulary, the stem changing verbs vocabulary. And we have some new vocabulary verbs So we'll just conjugate some of these verbs that we didn't get to do before. And we'll review the homework and like what you have to do and things like that. So I'm going to stop my share. So does anybody, let me stop recording.